You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. It's a pretty heavy discussion we just had with Steve Quayle talking about Jade Helm. I hope that and he as well hopes that, and we pray that this exposure will keep this from actually going into effect, any kind of martial law this particular time. I think with the publicity, I don't think that they will do that. I think that they will wait until we get accustomed to it. This is a gradual rollout of things. Think about if you were just to go back 5 years ago and just make the leap without hearing any of this, without seeing any of the intervening steps. If you were to go back to 2010 even, and then drop into today and look at the wars that we have going on, look at the training that we have going on, look at the facilities that they have within their bases, the scenarios that they've done, would you have believed any of this? 10 years ago, you wouldn't have believed the NSA, most of the people. We have been talking about dragnet surveillance. We've been talking about what the government has been doing for a long time here at InfoWars. But most people before Snowden would not believe that. They would just dismiss that as a paranoid conspiracy theory. No matter that we had NSA whistleblowers going back to right after September 11th, people like William Binney and others who had pointed out that they had basically just slipped the bonds of the Constitution and were going to do whatever they wished. And of course, we had Michael Hayden brag about the fact at a university, brag about the fact that he didn't get his authorization to do this from the section in a new law. He got his orders straight from the president. Well, you know, you have orders from the Constitution that go even above the president. The president and all of the rest of them down, take an oath to the Constitution. That's the legitimate king of this country. Lex Rex, the law is king. They swear allegiance to it. They are simply temporary stewards. But they're acting and they're taking the position that they are now dictators. That's what we continually see with the arrogance of Obama, talking about the fact that he's going to implement climate change is the next thing he's going to do by executive order, and nobody can stop him. And you know what? The Republicans will not stop him. They could care less about doing that. Now, we also see that, as I said the other day, I think there's a huge fight at the state level to shut this down from the outside. Just as we have to expose these operations that are going on, and it's great that this has gone viral, I think we need to expose all of these operations and shut them down at the state level, shut them down with jury nullification, not just state legislators nullifying the laws. But we do have some really bad laws being proposed by state legislatures as well. So it's a fight. There's good stuff coming out. There's bad stuff coming out. Out of Washington, it's nothing but bad news. But in Texas, we've got this Representative Jason Villalba. He's a Republican from Dallas, and of course, he's a guy who has proposed mandatory psych evaluations for students in school, and he has also proposed shutting down and penalizing filming cops. But now we have an article that came out just last night. Largest Texas police union comes out in opposition to the bill that would restrict filming cops. Now, they point out that the representative has even described it himself as targeting independent bloggers who are focused on keeping law enforcement accountable. So in other words, and that was his quote. That this is not a characterization from the article. He says, we want to target, quote, independent bloggers who are focused on keeping law enforcement accountable. Why would you want to target somebody who is focused on keeping law enforcement accountable? Why would you do that? Okay, then they go on to say that although this was set for hearing tomorrow, it's been withdrawn from a committee agenda as Villalba claims that it is being amended. The claim was called into question by Charlie Wilkerson, executive director of the Combined Law Enforcement Associations, who told NBC that he's under the impression that the bill will be pulled permanently. Let's hope so. But what he's trying to do as an excuse is he's not saying that he's pulling this from pressure being put on by people who want to hold law enforcement and people like him accountable. That's who you really need to hold accountable. The Texas law enforcement doesn't want it, but he says he's pulling it because he can't write a bill. We'll see what happens. Stay with us. We're going to be talking to Joe Biggs about what's going on in the Ukraine, as well as Jade Helm.
The experts are clear. Sunlight, purified water, healthy non-GMO food, and having a good attitude is essential to a healthy immune system. But I go further with Super Nascent Iodine X2 from InfoWarsLife.com. 50% stronger than our original and revolutionary Nascent Iodine formula, coming from a deep earth crystal source that no other supplier has. Most other forms of iodine come from seaweed in areas plagued by Fukushima and other contaminants. Not our iodine. It comes from over 200 million year old crystal salt deposits and is tested and proven to be completely pure. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today. See the informational videos. Read the information they're compiled. And for a limited time, when you use promo code NOW at checkout, you get an additional 5% off the entire family of InfoWarsLife.com products. Secure your Survival Shield X2 today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Introducing Secret 12, the new InfoWars Life vitamin B12 formulation. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy to use capsules. You will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Using unparalleled research in the development of a synergistic formulation based around the key concepts of super oxygenation, the next level in cleansing is here. With key ingredients backed by real clinical studies, the new Oxy powder, available through InfoWars Life, was invented during Dr. Group's research on the toxification of our bodies. Many herbal colon cleansers are harsh on the body and contain cheap and potentially dangerous ingredients, oftentimes full of synthetic fillers, GMOs, additives, or worse. Gently start cleaning your body with easy capsules that start working while you sleep. Oxy powder does not require time off work, and there's no need for bad tasting concoctions. Instead, Oxy powder slowly releases monoatomic oxygen into the intestinal tract and body. Experience the astonishing cleansing power of superoxide and ozonide technology. Go to InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com to get started with Oxy powder, or call 1-888-253-3139.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we're joined in this segment with Joe Biggs. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Ukraine and essentially the Stratfor president's take on this. But of course, today is April 1st, April Fool's Day. And as they point out in California, it's no joke. April 1st is going to bring double-digit sales tax to several towns in California. Some of them are going to get 10% or more. And of course, I remember when they would always increase the sales tax, they would always say, well, it's only a penny. You know, it's not a penny. Let's say if you got a 4% sales tax when they were telling everybody they were going to go to 5%. That was a long time ago. But when they would say that, that's a 25% increase if you go from 4% to 5%. So, yeah, it's not a penny increase. That's the way they always sell this stuff. But, of course, Americans are taxed on so many different levels. There's another story out from CNS News saying these are both off of Drudge Report. Americans must work January the 1st through April 24th just to pay the taxes. So even though it's April 1st, you're still working. Think about all the way back to your New Year's party and all that time that you're going through on average, and you may be paying more than that, you are still working just to pay your taxes. But of course, the IRS chief says, hey, all this talk about getting rid of the IRS ain't going to happen. We're still going to be here. That's right. They will be until we stop the spending, until we stop the growth of the government getting out of control. But they're spoofing us. They're spoofing us with the sales tax increases. They're spoofing us with even with calls to get rid of the IRS. If you can't get rid of the IRS if you're going to give a $190 billion increase to just the Defense Department and not match that with any cuts anywhere else. I mean, that's what Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio are proposing, not even any offsetting cuts. And yet you can't get rid of the IRS. You can't get rid of the income tax if you're going to do that. Of course, the income tax only pays a small percentage. We continue to go into debt. We continue. It's like a reverse mortgage with the Federal Reserve. We only pay just kind of the carrying charges each time, and we just go farther and farther into debt. But I'll tell you what is not a joke today. We have a no fooling special, free shipping, starting today on April 1st through Friday at the InfoWars store. And of course, one of our new products is still available, Winter Sun Vitamin D3. It's a ultra nutraceutical quality vitamin D3. It's not synthetic. Most of the vitamin D supplements that are out there are synthetic, but this is D3, not D2. It packs a powerful 2,000 IU per single dose of 10 drops. It's a bioavailable form of D3 from the nutrient-dense lichen plant. It is, again, not synthetic. You can find that at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com. And again, get free shipping today through Friday on anything you get at the store. Well, Joe, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was because I saw this clip from the Stratfor president, George Friedman. And it's kind of interesting because every once in a while these guys will get on and they will have these conferences that they speak at. Like I mentioned earlier, when Petraeus says, America's finished. We now have the North American Union. And let's talk about what that means and the implications of that. So a lot of times they'll kind of open up and, they're talking to the choir. And they figured nobody's going to watch these dry conferences. But every once in a while we get a tip. And we got a tip someone sent to us. It's a German posting of a speech that this guy who's the president, the CEO, the founder, the chief intel officer of Stratfor was talking in a kind of candid way about what's behind this buildup in Russia. And of course, we had a Russian analyst saying, we could basically wipe out North America by putting some nukes on the fault lines at Yellowstone, for example. I mean, that is very, very provocative. And when we see that kind of provocation publicly, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot that's really going on. And as we'll hear from these excerpts we're pointing out from him, everybody knows that there's already fighting going on there. We've already got soldiers there. We've got paratroopers, they say, are going to begin a Ukraine mission in mid-April. This came out on the 30th from the International Business Times. But we know that they're already there. They're just now admitting that they're going there. But what I thought was really interesting was kind of the admission that they control those troops. And that's what I wanted to get you to talk about. But before we get to that clip, I want to play a short clip where he's talking about what the real conflicting existential threats are between the U.S. and between Russia. Let's play that clip, the existential threat clip.
Is Islamic extremism really the major threat to the United States?
Somebody's asking him a question.
And will it die on its own, or will it keep growing?
This is George Freeman.
It is a problem to the United States. It is not an existential threat. It has to be dealt with, but it has to be dealt with proportionately. We have other foreign policy interests. So, the primordial interest of the United States, over which for a century we have fought wars, the First, Second Cold War, has been the relationship between Germany and Russia, because united they are the only force that could threaten us, and to make sure that that doesn't happen. The point is that the United States is prepared to create a cordon sanitaire around Russia. Russia knows it. Russia believes that the United States intends to break the Russian Federation. I think that, as Peter Lorre put it, we don't want to kill you, we just want to hurt you a little bit. The question on the table for the Russians is, will they retain a buffer zone that's at least neutral? Or will the West penetrate so far in the Ukraine that they're 70 miles away from Stalingrad and 300 miles away from Moscow. For Russia, the status of Ukraine is an existential threat. And the Russians cannot let go.
There you go. So he says it's an existential threat what happens in the Ukraine. Of course, the Ukraine is, and